Hi everyone, Keith, Arenberg Farms. It is now the first week of February and I'm really liking things I'm actually seeing out here on the farm. Got some really good indicators going telling me that the season is upon us. So that means we need to get projects finished up, get our plan complete, and really start focusing on the season. We don't want to have a bunch of stuff we got to take care of during the season. We're going to get that knocked out beforehand. But first, I'm going to show you the key indicators I'm seeing and explain to you why I see that the season is upon us. So let me show you. Hey, and don't forget about arenbergfarms.com. Scroll down the bottom, digital tools and training. I got the Market Garden Farming School starting up there. We've got our seeding module up. The direct seeding transplanting module is coming up very soon. We also have the Ultimate Seed Catalog down there for free as well. Go ahead and download it. It's what we actually use on the farm to actually order our supplies. So I update it frequently and you'll get copies when you get updated. Also, get your planning done. SeedTime app. There is a link down the show notes. You also get $5 in seeds for signing up for your free account. So go check that out. Now, the very first sign I'm seeing a lot of right now is you just look around me. Look, the grass is actually starting to turn green. That means our soil temperatures are starting to come up, starting to release more nitrogen. They're starting to come out of dormancy and they're starting to go. I just checked the soil temperatures. Actually, over in a field block, we're at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a good start. We'll start pushing up. Typically, the first 2 weeks of February are our coldest months or weeks of the year. This year, completely different. We had that deep freeze back in January. Groundhog said, hey, early spring as well. I don't know how much to trust on that, but it really gives me a good idea just by looking around of what's going on with the season. We'll go over to the next one and talk about it. Another thing I start looking at is actually the buds on the trees. I start paying attention to those because when it starts warming up and the springtime activity starts actually kicking in, the growth nodes start to swell a little bit. It's pretty obvious on these trees here that the end bud is just starting to swell. I'll turn you around so you can see that better. So you can start to see the buds on the end of the tree here. The ones at the very end out there by my pinky are just starting to swell up, where the ones back a little further are not. They're much smaller in size, which means we are just at that point where things are starting to warm up and things are starting to actually get ready to bloom for the spring season. There's another really good key indicator. I don't know how well you can hear it, but the birds are back and they're happy. Usually that's a good sign when the songbirds come back that they're here for the nice spring temperatures and everything to start going into bloom. Another good one in our region, I don't know if it's necessarily universal around the country, is you start smelling skunks and seeing more dead skunks on the road. That's specifically because they're just now coming out of hibernation. They're a little groggy. That's why you see them hit on the road during mainly the spring and really not any other time of the year. Also, they spray more often because they're out to get startled easily because they're more confused and slower. So those are really good signs. So now we'll go and talk about what we need to do to start preparing and getting things wrapped up and getting this season going. Now at this point in the season, we've got our rough draft of our crop plan going. We've got our seed ordered. Now we need to start focusing on getting all of our infrastructure up and ready and running. So you can see behind me, I'm actually building out a new raspberry trellis because I'm going to transplant a whole bunch of raspberries in here. I took the cuttings a couple weeks ago. I've got them started. They're in the germination chamber, trying to root in, get going, healing off. So that's great. But I know for certain from past experience that I want to have all of this done before the season starts. Once we actually go into full growing mode, you're not going to have time to spend a day to put up a trellis or another day for the other trellis, or go around and make sure that your irrigation's all set up and running. You want to have all of this done before the season starts because you will not have time later. And I know this from experience because we put up that greenhouse in the middle of the season, that one at the tail, the other two down there in the middle of the season as well. And it just really caused a huge issue with time management during that part of the year because we were focused on many different tasks. It made things basically really not enjoyable because it's more to your list and more to get done every week, where you just want to be able to focus on what you're doing. Last year was the first season that I actually had everything going at the beginning of the season, had the whole farm running great, ready to go, and it's probably the most enjoyable season that I've had in years, honestly, because all I had to focus on was actually growing instead of building and fixing and getting this to work and getting that to work. That's where a lot of the things that you learn through the seasons is really useful. And that's also part of why I'm putting together the Market Gardening Farming School, is specifically to help people with the specific things to actually get your seasons up and going, get your farm established. Then you can actually come out and have fun and do things like this in the off season and not have to worry about it when it comes time to actually start growing. All I'll have to do is put the plants in place, 2 foot on center all the way down. I'll have this covered with landscape fabric. I'll have the trellis wires up. I'll have the other one built, which I'm actually going to, we're going to do that next week. I'm going to show you how I actually build these trellises out. Really neat method, pretty darn simple, but I really enjoy the look of it because it's not pressure treated lumber. The final thing to really consider is getting beds prepped when you have a dry period. Now, at least in our environment, I'll have a 1 to 2 week period where I'll have to prep out everything I'm going to plant in the farm in spring. That's outside of these greenhouses, of course, because it rains so frequently to the spring, and you do not want to run anything out in the field during that time or walk out there or do anything, because you're just going to make a muddy mess. Now, the stuff I planted out, when was that, last week? So let's see, that's lettuce and spring mix, and these are radishes. They have not germinated. They have not come up out of the ground yet. I imagine I should be seeing those in the next day or two, hopefully. I did come in here and check soil temperature, and we're sitting at about 70 degrees. So that is really good. That means the soil in here is really heating up nicely. I'm gonna do the rest of this bed right here down to where I finished prepping, right about there. I'll do that with some spinach because I wanna get a really early start on the spinach. This stuff here that's overwintered, it's about at the end. And when the soil temperatures start warming up like this, it stops growing a big leaf and it'll just bolt. So I know that that's not gonna have much production. We're still selling great, we're still doing great. And that's because we had really good preparation for the winter this year. We did lose all of our lettuce because this was all lettuce, but hey, it was negative 17 degrees Fahrenheit. So that kind of comes with the territory, is to be expected. Now I hope this gives you some really good insight on the things I look for when I know that the season is coming. There's just a few little indicators here and there. The wildlife, the grass is greening up, trees are starting to bud. That means it's go time. No more in planning mode, relaxing winter mode. Now I gotta switch my mindset over to it's go mode. And it's gonna be go mode for the rest of the season. If you're still up further north, or just wait a little bit later in the season to start growing, remember, get your fields, at least planned out, get your rough draft. SeedTime's a great tool for that. Get your seed ordered, get all your supply orders. The Ultimate Supply catalog is a great resource for that. We use it on the farm. And then get your growing practices really honed in on what you're going to do for the season. That's probably the most important part, is honing in on what you want to do and how you want to do it. It's where the Market Gardening Farm School comes in good as well. Go check it out, arenbergfarms.com. Scroll down the bottom. Digital tools and training section down there. It's got everything. There's also links in the show notes for all that stuff as well. So, as always, hope y'all like what you saw today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day. Yeah, I hope I didn't jinx myself by saying it's getting warm early, because that's how you jinx yourself, and then it does not.